Modern Horizons 2 keeps bringing us amazing characters from Magic the Gathering history. And I have to say, I never want this to stop.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope you are doing well. Are you enjoying the Modern Horizons spoiler season? Because I sure am. Getting to talk about ancient characters from Magic the Gathering's past is immensely satisfying to me. Speaking of which, yesterday's video about Asmore, there is now a full lore video about Asmore available over on Fantasy Geographic. I'm going to leave a link at the end of the video for you to check it out. It's a fantastic and delightful story that you're definitely going to want to hear. But in the meantime, let us talk about this saucy fellow right here, Carth the Lion. I love that they got the details of him right down to the Elder Druid mark on his face. This is so cool. But anyways, let us start from the beginning. And the beginning is fairly tragic, all right? Carth was orphaned at a young age. Now, Carth was originally from the city of Carth. And no, he wasn't named after the city. In fact, we don't know his name. The city of Carth got absolutely devastated and destroyed, thrusting Carth into a very, very difficult life. And he was just known for the name of the city that he came from instead of his own name. Now, the city of Carth was wiped out by an evil planeswalker by the name of Gaedrone Dahada. And you may recall that name because we recently talked about her when we were talking about the story behind Dak and Blackblade. So obviously, Dahada has had an impact on a number of individuals' lives. Surprise, surprise, a massive, powerful, power-greedy, power-hungry planeswalker is impacting people's lives. Color me surprised by that. Anyways, so Carth here is consumed with the desire for revenge, but he has a big problem. He, at this point, is essentially an inept child, right? I mean, he's been taken care of his whole life up until this point, doesn't really know how to fend for himself, so he turns into this kind of vagabond street urchin, obviously stealing to get by. Now, this thievery actually ends up with him getting thrown into a prison specifically owned by the evil planeswalker, Dahada. Now, while he's in this prison, he meets another prisoner, a crazy monk, the Mad Monk, all right? And the Mad Monk explains to Carth that he'll be able to get revenge on Dahada if he's able to summon a planeswalker to his side. If he can summon up Dak and Blackblade to serve him, then he'll stand a chance, right? If you want to face off against a planeswalker, what's your best bet? Another planeswalker. So the Mad Monk explains this to him while also providing him with a magical amulet that will allow him to summon a planeswalker to him. So this amulet is called the Amulet of Tefu. So Carth manages to get out of prison and set off with this amulet. He uses the amulet to summon up Dak and Blackblade. And this is the next stumbling block for Carth because Dak and Blackblade is not happy. In fact, he's quite angry. Dakin hasn't been having the greatest time. He also has been hosed by Dahada. Dahada had convinced Dak and Blackblade that she would help him unlock the secrets of becoming a planeswalker if he would help her forge the Blackblade, right? So Dakin bought the lies, helped her forge the Blackblade, at which point she takes the Blackblade, drives it into his shadow, steals his shadow and his soul. So Dakin is angry. He's in no mood to be summoned up by some little whelp of a boy wasting his time. You have to understand, Dakin is like a warlord, dude. He stands atop massive piles of bodies like, "Bah!" Like he is just an absolute beast. So he's got this kid here who summoned him to the plane, and he tries to planeswalk away, but he can't because the amulet is preventing that from happening. It's bound him to the boy. So obviously in this situation, what do? Well, let's take down the boy. So Blackblade decides, I'm going to destroy this child. You're not wasting any more of my time. I'm gonna take out some of my rage on you right now. But here's the problem. The amulet that Carth was in possession of also protected him from Dakin. So at this point, Dakin is raging. He can't destroy the boy. He can't escape the plane. After a bit of time, Carth is able to convey to Dakin that the reason that Dakin has been summoned up is because Carth needs to destroy an evil planeswalker. And when Dakin realizes that the planeswalker Carth wants to destroy is Dahada, that's when he starts to warm up to the child. He's like, wait a minute. You're not all bad. You want to destroy Dahada? So do I. Maybe we can work together, right? So what happens from that point onwards is Dahada actually summons up multiple elder dragons to throw at Dakin. All right, she summons up Chromium and the elder dragon Piru, okay? And this is cool because this is like the old school elder dragons. If you played back in the day of Legends, this is the formatting that was used for the original wave of elder dragons. Not the elder dragons that came later on in stories or the elder dragons that we just got in Strixhaven, but the original elder dragons. So, Piru the Volatile is 2 black, 2 white, 2 red, and 2 for a 7/7 flyer. He's got lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Piru unless you pay a red, a white, and a black. And I like this because it's like the old school cards. Back in the day, to get big, beefy Elder Dragon Legends and other crazy creatures, you had to pay upkeep costs. Or some other downside. They always came with huge downsides, right? By today's standard, that casting cost and upkeep feel a little bit rough for what you get. You know what I mean? Sure, when Piru dies, it deals 7 damage to each non-legendary creature, which is nice. But ultimately, look at it. There's a reason it's rare instead of mythic rare, right? If this isn't on the level to be a mythic rare, but it certainly is on the right level to be an old, ancient elder dragon. And I love it. Originally, if you guys didn't know this, when the elder dragons first showed up in Legends back in 1994, they were more desirable and worth more money than Black Lotus, which is just crazy. It's crazy to think about how long I've been involved with Magic. But anyways, this is the other Elder Dragon that got summoned up by Dahada. So, Dakin is able to unsummon Chromium, the other Elder Dragon, boom, get him right out of there. But Piru is still remaining, and obviously Piru is very destructive. Look at this card, right? Look at these abilities. Piru can do a lot of damage. Now, at this point, it's actually when Carth really becomes a little bit more valuable to Dakin, because Carth is able to obtain the Black Blade basically in the tumult of battle. Unnoticed, Carth is able to snag the Black Blade and get it to Dakin. And once Dakin gets the Black Blade, he's like, oh, it's on now! And he just slays Piru, bam, without much problem at all. Now, at this point, that's when Dahada reveals the truth. This was all according to her plan, all the way back to Carth being thrown in prison. Dahada was actually the one who was the Mad Monk, pretending she was masquerading as the Mad Monk. She was the one who gave the Amulet of Tifu to Carth and explained to him how to use it and to summon Dakin Blackblade and bind him to him, all that sort of stuff. And the whole purpose of that was to have what basically happened happen. Why do you think Carth was able to get the Black Blade, right? That's a treasured possession. Why would Dahada all of a sudden not be fiercely protective of it? It's because she wanted Dakin to slay the dragon Piru. So when Dakin slayed Piru, then Dahada was able to take all of that energy, all the magical power of the Elder Dragon into herself, which was the plan all along. So from that point forward, Dakin and Carth started to become friends, right? And actually, Carth the Lion is the name that Dakin gave Carth out of respect for him. So I really like the story. I think this is awesome. Like I said, I think it's cool that they have like all the details. You might not be able to see it on the screen depending on like the size of screen you're watching it on, but Carth actually has a crescent-shaped mark on his face, and pretty much every member of his lineage has it. Now, that is a special marking. The mark of the Elder Druid essentially signifies special individuals. It only ever appears on one or two people at any moment in history. So it is a very rarefied sort of thing. Mark of the chosen one, if you will, which adds a really nice level of flavor to it. So when we take a look at the actual card itself, and I mean, I had to use the old school border version, right? It's so dope. So 1 red, nope, that's not right. 1 green, 1 black, and 2 for a 3/5 legendary human warrior. Whenever Carth the Lion enters the battlefield or a planeswalker you control dies, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a planeswalker card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, I like the fact that this first ability definitely ties into the concept of summoning up Dakin, right? Like when Carth comes out, search 7 deep for a planeswalker. That could be the call of the amulet. That totally fits. Now, when the planeswalker you control dies, part of it, that doesn't really fit into the like flavor, but I feel like they included that because if that was all Carth did when he came out, was just let you dig once for a planeswalker, he wouldn't be that exciting and might not feel that useful. But making it a bonus that when you lose a planeswalker, he can help you get another one, that kind of makes the ability a little more spicy and enticing. So I think that's just in there more for power levels than flavor levels. And the second ability is a little weird to wrap your head around at first because it says Planeswalker's loyalty abilities you activate cost an additional +1 to activate. And when I read this at first, I honestly thought this was a negative, making the abilities more expensive to use. But then I realized, actually, this just makes planeswalkers more loyal. So if you normally have an ability that says +2, do this, instead now it says +3. And if you had an ability that says -1, now it's just 0. It costs no loyalty. So Carth the Lion increases the loyalty of planeswalkers that you have with you, which is a really cool concept. Is it his inherent nobility because he is a chosen one style individual that makes the planeswalkers more loyal? Is it the fact that he is good at creating camaraderie with them and earning their respect? You know what I mean? It kind of ties into the whole Dakin Blackblade at first was mistrustful and wanted to destroy the boy, and then started to like him so much that he literally dubbed him Carth the Lion. So that all fits together really well flavor-wise. The artwork is great. It's got a real heroic vibe where you can see Carth like trudging through a swampy mire with a giant stone statue head in the background that's fallen ages ago with moss strewn all over it. He's got his blade out in one hand ready to go. The other hand is focusing with some magic. I really dig the vibe overall of Carth the Lion. And there are a couple of cards that are connected to him as well, aside from Piru. You have Jared Carthalion, and that's the name. Basically, Carth the Lion, he formed a noble house. House Carthalion. I'm not sure how it's pronounced because we've never heard it out loud. But anyways, this is the true heir of his house. You can see him standing there all epic with his magic flowing, glowing blade, right? Like, I like the idea of this ancient character, and then we have the lineage. And look at this guy. He looks epic and heroic. He also looks like the cover of a fantasy-themed romance novel. Let's be real. And it's like, oh, look at his magnificent abs and his big arms, and look at that glowing sword. Ooh la la. He looks so beefy and impressive, right? So Jared, I like the idea of like the mark of the Elder Druid chosen ones, and that mark shows up on future generations. Like, that just feels awesome. It's just such a cool concept overall. And the flavor text is, I'm here for what's mine. The whole concept behind Jared's really neat. When he enters the battlefield, one of your opponents becomes the monarch, right? So he has to he has to claim his rightful throne, which feels great from a flavor perspective. And once he claims his throne, because he's the true heir, he's really difficult to unseat. Look at the second ability. If damage will be dealt to him while you're the monarch, prevent that damage, and put that many +1/+1 counters on him. So, once he becomes the king, you can't stop him from being the king. And then there is actually one more little obscure reference to the House of Carth The Lion, and that is on Primordial Worm. Now, Primordial Worm is a very generic card that we got in Dominaria. 2 green and 4 for a 7/6. So Crawworm has got a big boost. In my day, this mana cost would get you a 6/4 vanilla. Now it gets you a 7/6. Pretty nutty. So, the flavor text is where we get our reference. It says, you can hear its tail thrashing from a mile away. Keep in mind that its jaws may already be half a mile closer. The name, Jensen Carthalion Yavimaya Exile. So this individual might be somebody who came after Jared. It's not 100% clear where Jensen fits into the lineage, but I thought it was a neat little reference. So, my friends, that wraps up the discussion on Carth the Lion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, go and check out the lore video for Asmore. It's a delightful, it's a really, really cool story. And on a side note, I actually got an email from the author of the story last night. She contacted me and said, basically, it's such an amazing turn of events. She's like, my insurance agent told me that you are a big fan of my work, so I thought that I would contact you, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is so neat. So anyways, go and listen to the story over on Fantasy Geographic. Thanks for coming by, my friends. We're going to have a fun live stream tonight here on this channel. See you there for that. Otherwise, see you for the next video. Goodbye for now.